Hi, this is Mike Bermudez for Sociology 334, Professor Watson's class with T.A. Kelsey Fitzhugh. Module 3, discussion board, group 10. Topic is media messages and socialization. Okay, so I do watch only a handful of shows, but I do binge them. One of the shows I should say that I watch with my wife that's ripe with socialization and gender roles is This Is Us. As far as gender roles go, they're very specific in that show. Although it's a good show, they do emphasize that the men need to be stoic, proficient at their jobs, and in a good state of mind. There are instances where Randall, if he's not good at his job or is not succeeding at any job that he's going after, somehow he's a failure. Toby is suffering from depression presently on the show, and somehow he's a failure for being not as flawless perhaps as he was before. Many of the women in the show, such as Beth or Rebecca or Kate, are only at their best when they're supporting the men in their life. Despite all the other things they do well. So I think it essentially says that when these characters are doing well based on their gender, they're doing well only when it's supporting a lot of the gender stereotypes. As far as socialization goes, again, when these characters are doing well in their jobs, well in either large businesses, they're a success. When they're not, they're essentially a failure, although these characters are still friends of people, they're still family of people, they're still parents of children. And those should be successes too, but socialization teaches us that if they're not doing well in the things that we all agree upon are measures of success, somehow they're inherently failures. Discuss how you believe that these messages are affecting social views of gender roles. When we put genders into a box, falling out of that box is considered a failure. I mean, that's the reality of it. If you're not this, then you're a failure at that. When we solidify the social structure, we reinforce staying within that structure to an impossible extent. When we all agree that there's a certain uniform way of doing things, if somebody falls out of that, the strength that we all collectively agree that that's the thing to do reinforces that they're failing at it. That's really it. Instead of just saying let's look at what you're good at, or maybe let's just start questioning whether that's really a failure to not do the thing that everyone agrees that you should be doing. Is this a positive or negative aspect of media? Well, I'm a believer that we collectively can't disassociate media in real life. I just don't think we can. We feed media content. Media content is delivered back to us, and we affirm our own media dictation. So essentially we say, this is what we collectively think we should do. The media says, okay, let's promote what everyone says we should do. And then when they promote that, we say, okay, it's the media. They're valid in some way, so they're right. Whereas media only just portrays what we say is okay and what's not. And when we start changing those values, or at least reassessing them, that's what the media will portray, and that's what we'll affirm from the media. We'll say that if the media says that, it must be true. It's this weird sort of cycle, but as long as we understand that, we can use that media to our advantage. Were you surprised by what you saw? Why not? I wasn't surprised. Not only is this normal, it's the standard that we all live up to. It's what we know. It's what I know. Gender roles and socialization is essentially the infrastructure to how we think and how we do. So I'm not surprised that I saw these things on TV or in the show. That's what we put out there in the world, people, not TV. TV just mirrors that, and then we just sort of affirm and validate based on what TV tells us. It's just this cycle again. What impact has increased technology had on these messages? Well, there's twofold to that one. First, we have more immediate access to content through internet connection. Wherever we're seeing a lot more of it, and at a 24-hour cycle. It's never ending. So everywhere we look, there's media that's feeding information to us. Two, the content exposure doesn't leave us room to decide what we want for our lives. The division of content used to be a mix of sample and interpretation. Now it's 100% sample. What I mean by that is, it used to be when media wasn't everywhere and content was streaming at us everywhere, we'd see the content, shut it down, and then move on with our life and interpret how and what we wanted to use from that content that we saw. We have time to reflect on it and interpret it the way we wanted to. Now it's just constant stream of content telling us what to say, do, hear, and what everyone else is doing and saying or hearing. We have a little room these days to sort of interpret that. So it's no wonder that we just go with some sort of social flow of whatever the belief is at the time. We all go with that. Anyway, again, my name is Mike Bermudez. Hope I've answered all the questions correctly for media, messages, and socialization. Sociology 334, Professor Watson and Fitzhugh, discussion board group 10. Thank you.